Welcome to Daily Devotions for Friday, November 6, 2020. What's the worst that could happen? Well, the answer to that question is quite a lot. Terrible things could happen. Everything could fall apart in our health, in our life, in our world. This week, in the week of our election, with the election still somewhat unresolved, a lot of people may be feeling like their world is falling apart. And that's understandable. Uh, Probably people on both sides of the political spectrum are feeling uneasy and fearful about possibilities. What do we do with that as Christians? What do we do as believers in Christ? I think one thing we do is we don't give in to fear, but look to God by faith. The words of Paul to Timothy, the encouragement he gives him that we are not to live by fear, but to trust God, is helpful for us. 2 Timothy 1:7, for God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind. Power, of love, of a sound mind. Those are important characteristics for us to hold to in these days of uncertainty. And with the virus running rampant now, there's another layer of fear there. And I want to encourage you in two ways today through this verse. One is to not live in fear. There is a kind of low-level anxiety, a low-level stress that can become a dominant force in our lives if we give in to fear. So today, turn away from that. You might have legitimate concerns about the direction of our country or the course of the virus or other struggles in your own life, but this is not the day to shrink back in fear. This is not the day to be dominated by anxiety. Know that for those who really struggle with these things, that's an easy thing to say. It may be a more difficult thing to do. But this is an area of your life where you can see God break through and bring victory. He loves to bring victory when we submit our hearts to Him and trust Him. So trust Him today with your anxieties, with your fears. Along with that, remember the other part of the verse. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. The Bible's always so good at bringing together elements that seem distinct in our minds: power and love and a sound mind. Those three items often to us are items that we separate in our thinking. Powers for the powerful, powers for the mighty, powers for the people that don't care about anybody other than themselves. Power is what we exercise to get what we want, but not for the Christian. We're people of power, but our power is guided and directed by love. We utilize the power God gives us for the good of others and for the glory of God. We have power. How will you exercise that power today? Will you exercise it to cling to what is your own, or will you willingly yield that power and utilize that power for the good of others, for the good of God's kingdom? Give us a spirit of love. Love directs the power, but power also shapes the love. Love is a mere emotion. Love is a mere affection. It's worth nothing. It profits us nothing just to have warm feelings toward people. The Bible tells us, don't love in word or tongue, but with actions and in truth. Now, of course, loving words are encouraging. We're encouraged toward that. But in the end, we need more than words. We need action And so the fact that our love is accompanied by power is as important as the fact that our power is directed by love. And then with those two items is the third, a sound mind. A sound mind. That item, that element is something that is sorely lacking in our world. We hear consistently the words about mental health. How is your mental health? I really do believe, and I'm not coming as one who practices this perfectly, but I really do believe that as we are rooted in relationship to God, as we are walking with God as Father and friend, by dwelling in His Word and living a life of prayer, I think God gives us a sound mind through those things. And when those things are absent, when they are not being walked in consistently, I think our minds begin to crumble. They begin to falter. They begin to fade. They begin to be shaped by our anxieties or by our desires rather than being shaped by power and love. God's not given us a spirit of fear. No matter what's going on in your life today, don't yield to fear. Walk in power. Walk in love. Walk in that sound mind that God gives you through relationship with His Son, Jesus. I hope today is a day where you find God freeing you from fear and filling you with His Spirit. Not as a catchword or a cliche or a phrase that we throw around casually, but as a living reality in your life. Thanks for watching today.